How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just wanted to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark Elevations special event Grand Slam from last night, which was September 26th, 2022. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match 1, it was Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford versus Shawn Dean and Sky Blue. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford went over cause Kip Sabian pinned Shawn Dean with the Anarchist suplex. And match 2, which was the main event, it was Ortiz versus Serpentico. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Ortiz went over with the Fisherman's Buster. Now, besides the matches, Powerhouse Hobbs cut a promo talking about mental health and his struggles with it, and talking about how he's been through a lot of trauma in his life, and how he's been through a lot with being raised with holding his emotions in and everything, and talked about how he lost his mother, how he lost his brother, how he lost his grandparents, and how he's been shot and everything, and talked about how he's raising 2 boys, and how, yeah, he's a big man, but it's okay to cry, and he's raising his boys to know that it's okay to cry and everything, and then talked about how everything gets better, and talked about a crisis hotline and everything. That was cool. And Eddie Kingston cut a promo talking about mental health and his struggles with it, and talking about how he doesn't want to see any more people dying from and Eddie Kingston cut a promo talking about mental health, and talking about how his dad and his uncle struggled with mental health, and how back then men had to hold their feelings in and everything, and then his dad ended up taking, when he was struggling with, when Eddie Kingston himself was struggling with mental health, his dad decided to take him to therapy because his dad wanted him to know that it was okay to cry and to show his emotions and everything, and talked about how his dad lost friends to suicide and he didn't want to lose his son to suicide, and talked about how Eddie Kingston himself has lost friends to suicide, and talked about how one time he was ready to commit suicide, and talked about how the Lord saved him and everything, and talked about how he was a mama's boy, and talked about if he would have committed suicide, that would have affected his mother really bad, and his career in professional wrestling wouldn't have happened, and everything. And Eddie Kingston was talking about how he don't want to see no more people dying from suicide, and talked about how he don't want to see a child crying over his father committing suicide, a mother crying over her son committing suicide, a wife crying over her husband committing suicide, and everything. And Eddie Kingston was talking about how he was a bouncer at a strip club years ago, and talked about how there was this guy, he was married, he had a wife and kids, and he was 45 and drank himself stupid, and found out that he committed suicide, and he was talking about how it affected him and the bartenders for about a week or so because of that man committing suicide and everything, and talked about how Eddie Kingston was talking about how you're not alone. There's always that one person that cares about you and everything, and talked about how it was okay to go to therapy and it was okay to take medication because Eddie Kingston himself takes medication for his mental health. He takes Zoloft, and was talking about how he wasn't ashamed of it, and talked about how to do anything that will help you and everything. And Eddie Kingston was talking about how at the fan fests, people come up to him and talk about what they're going through with their mental health, and it makes him feel good knowing that somebody's reaching out to him for their struggles with mental health and everything. And then Eddie Kingston was talking about how if you want to make fun of him for struggling with mental health, God bless you, go right ahead, and everything. And then Eddie Kingston was talking about how, so Eddie Kingston pretty much wrapped it up and everything after everything he said with mental health and everything. That was cool. Now, besides all that, Ian Riccaboni and Matt Menard done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. And the referee for the event was Mike Posey. Well, Mike Posey refereed both matches of Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford versus Sean Dean and Sky Blue, and Ortiz versus Serpentico. Mike Posey done awesome as usual. Now anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark Elevations special event Grand Slam from last night, which was September 26th, 2022. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.